mean, Justice, your job is so fascinating to analyze politics here in South Africa. A lot of us think we understand it, but we honestly don't. So let's get a glimpse into your head.
I know. Is it fascinating or depressing?
Oh, I don't know. A little bit of both. A little bit of both.
Thank you, Leon. Thanks for your opening remarks. I love the fact that we're talking about Brexit. I love what it underlines, and for me, it underlines just how careful all of us have to be all the time about whether we're reading the signals that are out there in the political environment correctly. If you think about what happened with Brexit, I was in London, two weeks ago, and I met some friends of mine, and it was, oh, no, have you seen the surveys are turning around, it's going to be okay, and so forth. And then Brexit happens, and it's, what happened here? And that's political action. That's political action that people ignore, and when it happens very fast. But I'm sure I'm preaching to the converted here. Here at home, we are very familiar with political risk. We've seen what happens when when politicians play around with big decisions, and there's consequences for some of these things. It hits us in the pocket, it hits us economically, and we start asking what happened here. So I think it's absolutely key to put into the mix the political issues of the day. If we don't, then we're surprised by the result, and the result goes straight to our livelihoods. But for me, crucially, I have kids. It hits us where it's what happens in 10 years, what happens with my kids' school fees, what happens with my pension, and therefore their future well-being. So today, my concern is to talk about what are the things that I think we should expect in South Africa, what are the trends that I think will define the next 5 years, the next 10 years, and for people to make up their minds where they position themselves when they speak to people like Joanne and say, what should I do about this? Perhaps you find a road, a way to navigate through the turmoil that we constantly go through politically in South Africa. So I thought I'd give you what I think are the key drivers of our politics. A lot of people come to me and say, oh, why are the Hawks investigating the finance minister? Where do you see this? And for me, it's something that is an expression of what's happening in the background. But if you understand what's happening in the background, perhaps you can make sense of what's happening on the front pages of the newspapers and so forth. This is a graphic that for me underlines what's happening inside the ANC. For me, we can't explain South Africa without explaining what's happening inside the ANC. The ANC for the past 22 years has been front and center of our lives of South Africa. It's the ruling party. It has been essentially in charge of lots that's good and lots that's very bad in our political environment. That ANC is in pain right now. That ANC is divided between two main factions, one built around the president, another built around, say, Cyril Ramaphosa and Gwede Mantashe and a few others in the ANC. They have been going at each other essentially for the heart and soul of this party. There are many people who swing between these two factions, and what you're seeing is a party which is at the moment campaigning to be re-elected in the local government elections, but is essentially two parties at war with each other. When you have that, you have a lot of stuff that spills over into our daily lives. So what was happening with the changeover of the finance minister, Nhlanhla Nene, it was essentially the one faction of the ANC saying, we want to have control of Treasury and we will go for it. What happens when the Hawks say that they're investigating Pravin Gordhan? It's essentially the one side of that of this faction saying, no, why did he stop the SAA deal? Is he doing this or that? And so we're going to scare him off by using an institution to go after him. That is what is happening inside the ANC. So in my view, when you talk about turbulence that we should expect, I don't think the turbulence is going to go away so long as inside the ANC there's so much infighting, so much factional argument, and therefore that for me is going to be something that drives our politics for the foreseeable future. Certainly up to the ANC's conference next December, but I think there'll be spillover beyond that. The second driver, I think, of our politics will be the fact that you spoke about those 60 people and the huge inequality we talk about in the world. Here in South Africa, Leanne and I were chatting earlier on, only 104,000 of us, 0.44%, are that elite out of a society of 54 million. 8.9 million South Africans woke up today and don't have a job. More than 3 million of them, if we're asked, using the expanded definition of unemployment, are you going to look for a job today? And they said, no, I'm not, because I know I won't get it. They've given up. And so in a country that has such pain at its heart and center, I think this remains a big risk politically for all of us. The fact that we're not creating new jobs, the fact that we'll grow by, what, 0.
We went negative at one point.
Yeah, we were 1.2% contraction in first quarter, so you know, we'll be lucky if we make 0.6%, as the finance minister says, and so forth. And so unless we deal with these deep structural issues, then we're going to continue to see. The big question for me is, who are the people who are out on the streets today protesting in Diepsloot or in Tshwane last week? It's these young people. And youth unemployment, we talk about 36% unemployment generally. Youth unemployment is way above the 57 or 57% officially. People put it at 67% and so forth. And so who are the people who are protesting? It's those young people. So I think that is a second driver of our politics. The last one, I know I've gone over my time, I apologize. No. We have an election coming up on August 3rd. This is the most closely contested election we've seen in South Africa since 1994. If you'd come to me in 2011 and said, who's going to win in Pretoria, I'd have said to you, oh, the ANC, of course. Today, I don't know. You can ask me that question because I just don't know. I think that the ANC going from 60% to 50% in just 3 years, it will be very difficult for the ANC to turn that tide around. And so what happens on August 3? Most likely the ANC, and for those of you who have family in Pretoria, the ANC and the DA and the EFF might have to form a coalition in Tshwane, and maybe Julius Malema will become the mayor. It's an interesting concept. Anyway, so the point is, Nelson Mandela Bay, the former PE, the ANC has gone from 70% in 2004 to 48.3% in 2014. In 10 years, totally wiped out. What's going to happen in this election? It's going to be very hard for the ANC to reverse that. So there's going to be a lot of noise, a lot of volatility in the political environment because the ANC wants to keep its majority. The DA, the EFF are saying, wow, we can take on these guys and we're going to go for them. We can take them in Joburg, Tshwane, we can take them in Nelson Mandela Bay, and we're going to go for it. So we're going to see more volatility and heat around those three issues.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be one of the most interesting elections.